Welcome and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the podcast. Evidently, you're unaware. My name is Andrea. I am your host. I'm also known as the Successful Diva, and I'm glad that you're here because this platform is dedicated to shining light on a variety of issues, topics, and circumstances that influence our lives. There are people who also make decisions that influence our lives. Today's topic is going to surround the word resume. Yeah, you remember that document that highlights a person's qualifications, their skills, their experiences. Yeah, that document. But before we get too deep in today's episode, I just simply want to say thank you to my viewers and listeners, those of you who are regular. I appreciate you tuning in each week. And for those who are not, you are cordially invited. Once you finish today's episode, hit that subscribe button, or you can do it while you're watching. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you are on alert when there is new content. So are you ready? Let's get smarter. I'm young enough to remember submitting my resume to a specific person at a particular organization when I was in search of, or I should say I was seeking to obtain a certain position. Usually that resume kind of precedes the actual in-person interview. Should you be called or should I be called, the resume typically goes first. If you think about it, the resume is sort of like a sneak peek into who the individual is, what they can bring to the table, what their skills may be, and how those skills and that person can benefit the organization. All of that is being assessed before coming in for an in-person interview. So I think it's safe to say, usually, when a resume displays what someone may consider red flags or areas of concern, the hiring of that individual may not occur, or the in-person interview may not occur. Thus, that person may not get the call to come in person. It is no longer safe to live or vote in ignorance. The nation received a sneak peek into the qualifications, skills, and experiences of both candidates seeking the most esteemed position in America in 2024 on behalf, get this, on behalf of 244,666,890 people eligible to vote in the 2024 general election. 77,303,573 of them hired an individual with this data on his resume. These types of qualifications, if you want to call them that, would usually be red flags. Normally, those would kind of be red flags. Now, it's a fact, resumes can be and are oftentimes embellished, but there are certain criminal and felonious experiences that should disqualify someone from positions, in particular, the highest position in the land, right? Well, apparently not, because the first four categories, or those resume data points that you see displayed, were facts in public before the election. Let that marinate. Criminal charges, felony convictions, impeachments, sexual assault accusations. You see the resume. Those numbers were public facts before the election. Nonetheless, let's get focused. Elections should be free of those who have resumes such as these. However, sometimes these types of individuals may sneak through the crack. And that's why we're here today to talk about resumes and why they matter. No government agency is perfect. Why? Because the candidates who become legislators, should they be elected, they are not perfect. Resumes matter. From the local level, state level, or even the federal level, every single election, resumes matter for any and all candidates. Should you discover a candidate's resume that has even a fraction of what the 34 count convicted felon had on his prior to entering office, you might want to vote differently. Trust what you see and hear. Should their history in business, positions held, or other aspects of life not align with your morals, or their character is one that you would not want in the presence of your children, you might want to vote differently. After all, the best indicator of what somebody will do is what they have done. Now, convincing those who have sold their souls to a dictator, or those who have cult-minded tendencies, the assignment, should you choose to accept it, is not directed at those persons. You're only going to be able to reach some of the 77,303,573 people who voted to hire a 34 count convicted felon. If there's any truth to their claims of regret, there could be hope for America, for the world, in fact. Share this episode with someone who regrets their vote. In fact, you should be speaking with persons. I have the occasion to do that for those who regret their vote. It's okay to disagree, and it's okay to have made a mistake. It's just you don't want to live in that regret should you have the opportunity to reverse course. So the question becomes, what will be their vote for the next upcoming future candidates should their resume have red flags? Resumes matter. I have already shared that with you. Resumes matter. I'll say it again, and don't forget or be hesitant to remind those who claim they regret their vote that resumes matter. So will they take a stand for their own democracy? Disregard party loyalty, maybe? Will they elect candidates into positions who will place people over politics? People over profits? People over power? Only time will tell. 2026 is moments away, and no poll can accurately predict what a regretter's vote will be on the day that that vote has to be cast. Ask Kamala. She knows, and she tried to tell us that. So I want you to know that I thank you for tuning in to this brief episode of Resumes. I want to bring your attention to that because 2026 is moments away. It's no longer safe. It's no longer acceptable to live in ignorance. This information, although to some may be, they may feel like we're pointing fingers or you're pointing fingers, it doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that we figure out quickly what that will mean. And in particular, those who decided either not to vote, which can no longer be an option. Not voting is not an option. It really is not an option. And ladies and gentlemen, 89 million plus people opted out of voting in the 2024 general election. So those people too should be reminded that resumes matter. There is a little saying, and it goes just a little something. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. You know who said that. That's Maya Angelou. Americans may not have too many more opportunities to be shown what living under a dictatorship looks like. The time to believe has passed. It is happening. Resumes matter. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to know what it is that you believe is important to you. In particular, anyone who has expressed regret for hiring a 34-count convicted felon, please comment directly below or inbox me at Andrea@strategicblueprint.info. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Blue Sky at thesuccessfuldiva.bsky.social.
You're Unaware is a platform dedicated to shining light upon various issues, topics, circumstances, and people who influence our lives. The information provided should not be considered advice for legal, health, investments, or the endorsement of an individual or group. Neither the host nor the guest of Evidently You're Unaware is responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from using the information shared within this podcast. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Evidently You're Unaware.